Welcome to a new episode of Take It to the Table. As you may have seen, my last video was my top 10 best pay-per-views of the year in both WWE and AEW. I thought, what better way to round it off by doing a top 10
worst WWE and or AEW pay-per-views of 2019.
But I hope you enjoyed my last episode. That was a very good topic to work on. Over the course of the year, things ain't always perfect. Sometimes you get good pay-per-views where they are just 5 stars across the board. Some pay-per-views that are just have a couple of good matches in there, quite a few eye rolls. And there's some pay-per-views that before it even hits the main event, it makes you go. So without further ado, let's start with our top 10 worst WWE and or AEW pay-per-views. Oh, shit, here comes the intro! Now, coming up at number 10 is going to be AEW Fight for the Fallen. Now, the reason... Oh, fuck that. Calm down. I'm not on a WWE mark. There's a reason why I put it on this list. Calm down, alright? God damn. Let me just have a quick sip. Venom tea. Oh, sorry. Carnage tea. So yeah, the reason I put it on this list, simply because it wasn't a very bad pay-per-view. It's one of the weakest that AEW has come out with. Sure, I understand it was for, it was their version of Tribute to the Troops and whatnot, but it's for charities and whatnot. But yeah, I just felt that this was their weakest in terms of matches. There was Brandy Rhodes versus Ali. It was really awkward seeing her wrestle. It wasn't that. There was quite a few botches. If anything, it was very sloppy. There was the Dark Order versus Angelico and Jack Evans, and Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy was there as well. Yeah, I think it was like a triple threat. It was an okay match. Jack Evans and Angelico put out some great spots. I remember that. But yeah, it wasn't something that made me go ooh ah. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. Adam Page versus Kip Sabian. It was a whatever match. The main event was the Young Bucks versus the Brotherhood, also known as Cody and Dustin. It just didn't live up to what we saw at All Out. Correction, not All Out, Double or Nothing, or even Fyter Fest. It was definitely the weakest one, and it was Kenny Omega versus CIMA. It was hard hitting, but I couldn't care for CIMA. It was probably if I'm saying his name right, if I'm saying his name wrong, but yeah, it was just very weak. Even the Lucha Brothers faced SoCal Val, and I'm a huge fan of the Lucha Brothers, but yeah, like I said, it was just very mediocre. It was okay, but compared to the other pay-per-views, this was the weakest. So yeah, this is why it's number 10 in my top 10. Coming in at number 9. By the way, 10 points if you can guess what Royal Rumble that is. It's not really hard to guess what that Royal Rumble is. But yeah, coming up at number 9 would have to be Clash of Champions. This was very disappointing, simply because hardly any titles exchanged hands. In my opinion, there was only one match that really stood out to me, which was the New Day versus the Revival, but even that ended awkwardly. The New Day, I think they were tag team champions. Yeah, they were tag team champions, and it was going back and forth, and Revival pretty much hit their finisher, and they should have went for the pin. But then there was this awkward moment where they were just like, yeah, let's just wait around for about 5 minutes, do nothing, and then all of a sudden they rather just do some random submission and it was to the point where it was the finish where that was a definitive finish, and I thought they were going to do some dumbness to make them look stupid and then not win the titles. Finished in a very sour, awkward note. But we had that. Sure, we had Eric Rowan versus Roman Reigns. Good spots in that match. And then we saw the reintroduction of Luke Harper. But it wasn't like, oh my God, it's Luke Harper. It was more like, oh snap, Luke Harper. Oh, okay, fair enough. It was like a not an moment. You know what I'm saying? So it was and then look what happened. After that, had one more match, next pay-per-view, and nothing happened of it. It was absolutely just ridiculous. Like I said, hardly any championships were exchanged hands. Shinsuke versus The Miz. Shinsuke defended it. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Nothing happened there. Bayley versus Charlotte. I think this was the dumb one where, yes, it was. Bayley, it was just a random, unexpected finish. It was like the match was barely getting started, and Bayley threw Charlotte into an exposed turnbuckle. Schoolboy pinned her, and then she ran. I'm pretty sure she didn't take her bags with her. She ran and left the arena, went home. It was just very unexpected. And yeah, it was really weird. Obviously, you can't forget the matches in the kickoff show where AJ Styles pretty much destroyed Cedric Alexander and just buried him for good since then. That was really weird. Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. People were they wouldn't be surprised if Randy Orton did win that title match, but Kofi pulled through. Yeah, nothing really special. It was a clean win. It was fine, whatever. And then of course the main event, Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman. When they had their match at the beginning of the night, when they lost the Raw Tag Team titles to Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, a random pairing. I still don't understand it. Didn't make any sense. And it pretty much, in my opinion, it took the air out of the main event. So because they didn't have the tag team titles, to me, Seth Rollins was not going to lose that match. It was, I thought they should have kept it, and then if, maybe there's a possibility, there would be more possibility of Braun Strowman winning the Universal Championship, and then go from there. But again, not only did they not do that, they also still didn't pull the trigger on Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is just pretty much whatever now. He's officially a mid-carder, in my opinion. And yeah, it was just, it was like the Fiend light, because he kept doing curb stomps. I think he did quite a few pedigrees, couldn't put him down. And yeah, the match was just whatever. Very lackluster finish to the pay-per-view. Definitely a weak pay-per-view. No shocks, just whatever. Yeah, unless they plan some major things for this pay-per-view, I think they should just scrap this, because it's just a whatever pay-per-view, in my opinion. Coming in at number 8. Now just put this out there, because there wasn't that many pay-per-views to make up a top 10. I also put in certain network specials, quote unquote, on here that was, I guess they were house shows, but because they were on the network and you kind of have to pay for that network, I still call it as a pay-per-view. So yeah, I put those in here. And the reason I'm saying that is because the next one I'm going to say, coming in at number 8, is Starrcade. Sure, it was, it was a 1-hour special, but yeah, it still counts, whatever. Absolutely dead ass, like an hour wasted of my life. Pointless pay-per-view, or network special, or whatever you want to call it. I remember the really random Kevin Owens show with Ric Flair coming out and just chatting breeze, just whatever, Ric Flair being old Ric Flair. Then I think Lana came out. This pointless crap. There was the Street Profits versus the OC. I fell asleep during this match, I'm not gonna lie. it was just absolute bore fest. Whatever. Street Profits. I like the Street Profits. But whatever. It was just didn't do anything for them. The Kabuki Warriors versus the Kabuki Warriors versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte versus Bayley, and Sasha versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the Women's Tag Team Championships. By the numbers really. And then Bobby Lashley versus Rusev by forfeit because of the restraining order. Bobby Lashley wins. And then Kevin Owens came out, cussed out Lana. Them two had a match. Not Kevin Owens and Lana. Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens. And he won by disqualification. And the most pissed thing about it, the matches that happened they didn't show sounded more interesting. That there was Aleister Black versus Andrade, two of the best workers in the business. Ricochet versus Andrade, again, two of the best workers in the business. Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. I don't mind seeing them. They put out good matches, them two. Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin. Okay, let's skip that. And then there was Braun Strowman versus The Fiend. I would not say no to those matches. Those matches sound more interesting than the joke that they gave us live. So yeah, that's why this is definitely on here. I couldn't care for it. Stop doing this shit unless you really. It's a point. That it's just get rid of it. Get rid of it. Coming in hot at number 7 is another network special, and it is The Shield Final Chapter. This is when I started to really become sick and tired of the Shield storyline. They try to squeeze as much money out of this team. I don't know, in a weird way, I felt like WWE was just rubbing it into Jon Moxley's face. I'm not going to call him by Dean Ambrose anymore. Jon Moxley's face, that like, we made this team, we made you. Let's just make the most out of you, and then just get rid of you afterwards. It was a whatever pay-per-view, and they just wanted to plaster their name over it because the rest of the pay-per-view didn't have any involvement with him. The Shield, should I say. So the first match was Finn Balor against Elias for the Intercontinental Championship. Whatever. Bayley and Ember Moon versus the Riot Squad. Again, what significance does that make? And then of course the Shield versus Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin. Went way too long. Obviously, it's Ambrose's last match, the Shield's last match. I get that, but yeah, it was just insignificant. It was just absolutely insignificant. Didn't do anything for anybody. And of course, it was heartwarming because obviously it's that Ambrose's last match. Roman Reigns slowly coming back after battling leukemia. So I get that. But yeah, I think it was just WWE's pettiness and egoness, if that's a word, egoness, that just pretty much summed this pay-per-view up. There was no end game with it. They just wanted to make as much money as they can out of the Shield. And yeah, I guess it's just business 101, whatever. But didn't care for it. Absolute dumpster fire. Get rid. Alright, so this one might surprise a few, but coming at number 6 would have to be Wrestle Mania. What? Yeah, the granddaddy of all shows is up on the worst. Is on the worst list. Why? Not so much of the pay-per-view itself, but just how the event was handled. As I was there live. It was a long night. It was a very long night. But there was a myriad of problems during the event. During the AJ Styles and Randy Orton match, the lights weren't working. The lights was too bright. We barely got to see the match. As soon as they finally fixed the lights and listened to the whole crowd, eventually they finally turned them off. By the time that happened, it was the match was over. The checking in system, like when you arrive at the arena to to scan your tickets, was just very long, very tedious, especially when if you came in a bag. It was just had a really awkward experience with them. Lack of supply of the souvenir cups. I went to almost every stand, and before the show even started, it was already sold out. It was, lack of supply. Didn't really have that many. So for the first time ever, I've been to about 5-6 WrestleManias. And for the first time ever, I didn't get to leave with a souvenir cup, so that kind of annoyed me. But whatever. And of course, at the end of the night, the transport system was horrendous. Oh my goodness. It was just absolutely horrible. I've been reading online reports that WWE went over their time slot and they didn't inform the New Jersey Transit, the transport company, that they were going to go over time. So by the time the event ended, all the drivers already went home. They had to get emergency people to come back and then do like round trips. It was pouring down the rain. The whole event was fine. Imagine it was getting chilly later down in the night, but as soon as the event finished, it was just pouring rain, and you're just standing there. There's no cover, and there's like a long queue. Imagine, look, it's about 80,000 people that's trying to get from New Jersey back to New York, and it was absolutely just horrible, absolutely horrible. And I'm there with my other half, and she was not impressed. She was not impressed. So yeah, that pretty much ended the pay-per-view on a very sour note. But a couple eye rollers in the pay-per-view, of course. Everyone knows that I have a huge distaste for Baron Corbin defeating Kurt Angle. That match should have never happened. That finish shouldn't have happened. Kurt Angle deserves way more for the business, and if he did go out to lose, he could have lost to anyone but Baron Corbin. It was just an absolutely lackluster finish to a historic career. Like he's up there. He will be part of the Mount Rushmore. I don't care what anyone says. Like in different eras, like. He's not gonna. I wouldn't say he's up there with the Hulk Hogan's and the Ric Flairs, but in terms of a generation, he's up there, 110%. And he deserved more. He done a lot for the business. Put out 6 out of 5 star matches. He deserves way more than what he got at WrestleMania. Sasha Banks and Bayley versus the Iconics versus the Divas of Doom. I didn't even know they even would call the name. Beth Phoenix and Natalia. I did not know they even had a name. And Nia Jax and Tamina. The Iconics won unexpectedly, and that obviously began the hiatus for Sasha Banks. Shane McMahon versus The Miz was a good match. Didn't expect Shane to win. This whole time, still, The Miz never got his redemption against Shane McMahon, which is crazy to think. What else was there? There was a couple good matches. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. He won nicely. It was a good start to the pay-per-view. Kofi Kingston against Daniel Bryan, of course, that's up there. It was a very great match. Samoa Joe demolishing Rey Mysterio. Oh, it was brutal. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. This was pretty much Roman Reigns being Roman Reigns, period. He's doing not too bad now, but during then, I went to the concession stand for this match. I didn't care for it. Triple H versus Batista, very gruesome start to the match, I must say, but it was alright. Can't complain. Decent pay-per-view. Decent match. the best part of the match was really when Batista completely slipped and tripped over the ropes when he came in. The match didn't even start yet, and he already botched his entrance. Classic Batista. And of course, the main event, which was Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. Winner takes all. And that birthed the era of Becky Two Belts. Decent match. Ronda Rousey, she obviously legitimately injured herself in the match. Still put out 100%. Obviously, there was that botch finish. But yeah, it was okay. It was a decent WrestleMania. Not the best one I've been to. But yeah, so far nothing can beat WrestleMania 30. And of course, WrestleMania 34 for me was a great pay-per-view simply because I got to see the Hardy Boys live made their return. That was just amazing. But yeah, some eye-rolling matches, and of course the transport system at the end of the night was just absolutely horrible. And I've been to the MetLife before. For WrestleMania, it was when it was Rock and Cena 2, and it wasn't as bad, but this one was just absolutely horrible. All right, top 5. Coming up at number 5 is going to be Money in the Bank. Yeah. Wasn't really feeling this one as much. Obviously, we saw Bayley win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Decent spots in there, you know. There's plenty of talented women in there. Obviously, you've got Naomi, you've got Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose, Bae, and Ember Moon. So, you know, there was some talented women in there. It was a good match. I'm not gonna deny it. And shockingly, Bayley won. Which to this day, I honestly think that they just did that to spite Sasha Banks, because I got a feeling that was meant to be her, and yeah, they just did it to spite Sasha Banks. Obviously, Rey Mysterio versus Samoa Joe. Rey Mysterio won, captured the United States Championship. Shane McMahon versus The Miz by escaping the cage. So many problems with this match. There was a rope break in a steel cage match. Really, WWE? Really? There was Tony Nese against Daivari. The cruiserweights always put out 110%. Tony Nese is hugely over in cruiserweights anyway. I don't think they give them the right justice, but I think they need to go to NXT, to be honest. But that's just me. Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. I don't remember that match. So I think it was just a typical Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch match. Roman Reigns versus Elias. Again, this was the period where everyone just didn't care for Roman Reigns at the moment. But at the same time, I was glad that it kept him away from the title. You know, let him slowly build back up. You know what I'm saying? So it was fun. Speaking of, Roman Reigns is in here. I wonder if he's gonna go and win. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the Universal Championship. Yeah, it was good. That was okay. That was alright. Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens. By the numbers, at the time I didn't think that Kevin Owens was going to win, even though there was it would have been interesting if he did. Because obviously he turned on the New Day after being inducted as a New Day member, and you know, Kevin Owens being Kevin Owens. It was a good storyline. I ain't gonna lie, it was a very good storyline. But yeah, they decided not to cash in on Kevin Owens. It is what it is. And then of course, the main event, which was the Money in the Bank men's ladder match, or should I say the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, which obviously consisted of Ali, Andrade, Ricochet, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, and Randy Orton. It was good. It was very good. It was some close moments. My money was gonna be on. At first, I thought the Fiend was gonna possibly turn up and then take it, or it was gonna be probably someone upcoming like either Andrade or Ricochet, and none of that happened. Instead, no one in that match got it except for Brock Lesnar coming in being Brock Lesnar, bulldozing everything out of the way, took out all the cameramen by pushing a ladder on top of him, took out, I think it was Ali on the ladder, and then he went and grabbed the briefcase. And, you know, he was just there smiling, laughing his ass off. And, you know, he was even telling the fans, like, I fucking know, right? I can't believe myself. I'm just like, I'm happy to be here. Money in the bank, man. Yeah. If you haven't seen my video about that, even to this day, I don't even know how I feel about that. That was just, I feel sorry for the participants that was in that match. Just for a guy, a part-timer, to come in and win the Money in the Bank contract. Yeah, it was a ballsy move from WWE, and yeah, I guess it paid off. We got Brock City. Was it Brock City? When he had the boombox, we got that, and you know, Brock Lesnar's hilarious dance moves. That was cool. But yeah, even to this day, I don't know how I feel about it. Was that really good for WWE to do? Was that just disrespectful for the participants? I don't know. I have to sleep on it. It's a long sleep. God damn it. Right, coming in at number 4. You knew one of these pay-per-views was going to be on here. Somewhere. And not only does it make it on this list, it makes it up in the top 4. I'm talking about one of them Saudi Arabia pay-per-views. All money. We ain't getting A-Rab money. Hey, we're getting A-Rab money. Hey, we're getting A-Rab money. I'm talking about Super Showdown. Jeez, you God, they need. Oh my goodness, I'm always lost for words for these pay-per-views. I've yet to see one that was actually like, that wasn't bad, was it? It was alright. I've yet to see any. It's WWE have put themselves in such a corner, and it's that they can't get out of. Like, that place is just, oh my goodness. Like, anyway, that is another conversation for another time, or maybe not ever. I want to live, you hear me? So yeah, where should I begin? Let's start from the beginning. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin for the Universal Championship. Don't remember any of this match. Absolute snooze fest. I think I pretty much was. It was in the background when it came on. I was doing something else. Didn't care for it. Baron Corbin being boring. Baron Corbin. Seth Rollins being Seth Rollins. Whatever. Next, Finn Balor versus Andrade. It was a decent match. It was okay. Again, held no substance. Didn't care for any of it. Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns, where actually Shane McMahon gets a clean win over Roman Reigns. What world are we living in? Absolutely ridiculous. Boy, I don't know what to say. But even though it's written in history, Shane McMahon won over Roman Reigns. I don't understand why they gave it to him. I guess in Roman's mind, he just thought, well, no one cares for this damn pay-per-view, so I'm gonna really go against any storylines or anything. And to be honest, I don't think it has. No one really talks about it. So whatever. Lars Sullivan being Lars Sullivan, picking on little people and destroying Lucha House Party, even though it does nothing to his character. Like, why is he picking on these cruiserweights? It just looks like another form of bullying. That's what it looked like to me. By the way, what happened to Lars Sullivan? Jeez, that big push. It didn't even get off the ground. And and I think if I remember correctly, whatever's going on with him, it's getting worse. I have to look into that, but yeah. Whatever is going on with you, Lars, hope you get well soon, and I hope you learn from your past mistakes. Anyway, moving on. Randy Orton versus Triple H. No one really asked for this match. No one really asked for it. Everyone was pretty much over over with it back from they had their WrestleMania match. Everyone was over this rivalry. But we got it regardless. And Randy Orton won. That was, even I don't remember that. And it was a long match, 25 minutes. Jesus Christ. That's a bit much. But yeah, whatever. Randy Orton won that one. Moving on. Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. Probably Braun Strowman won this one. Again, I don't remember this match. Nothing's memorable. Well, there is one thing that's going to be memorable. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Kofi Kingston defeating Dolph Ziggler. Of course he did. Why is Dolph Ziggler in this match? And it should have been me, Dolph Ziggler, wasn't it? Yes. It should have been me. It should have been me. Shut the... Mansoor in won the 51-man Battle Royale. Good win for Mansoor. That was a feel-good moment, I must say. And yeah, he last eliminated Elias. That was didn't realize there was so many of them. That was pretty cool. But yeah, Mansoor won. That was a decent battle royal. It was okay. And of course, the dream match that everyone was clamoring for. The Undertaker versus Goldberg. Oh boy. If you've seen our previous videos where it's when it's me, Mr. Rhymes, and Rides, and we talked about this match, it's amazing. Flipping hell. And also this was part of one of the top 5 worst moments in WWE TV. Of course, rightfully so. This match had problems from the get-go. Goldberg comes out during his entrance, already leaking with blood. All you hear in the room that comes out, all you hear is bang, and then you see bleaking. God knows, took ages to come out, do his entrance. Undertaker being Undertaker, and then yeah, everything was going alright. Goldberg hit Taker with a spear, and then he was gonna do it again. Taker moved out of the way, and as Ride said, he gumbucked the turnbuckle, and it was just curtains from there. Dude was leaking double time. It was just absolutely awkward. It was concussed, and yeah, it was just absolutely awful from there. That stiff choke slam that he took. He tried to do a jackhammer, almost broke Undertaker's neck doing it. Obviously, it's like 65 degrees out there. The humidity must be insane. It was so bad. As Undertaker said in his podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin, he said it was just a bad day at the office. But it was more than a bad day at the office. You were both tarnishing your legacies just for a quick cash grab. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like they both don't need it. You know what I'm saying? Like they both don't need it. But you know, again, money talks. Get some of that old money. Hell, screw it. Why not? I guess. But yeah, thankfully they redeemed themselves with their retrospective matches. Undertaker teamed up with Roman Reigns, had a great match with him, and of course Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler. Nice, classic Goldberg. So they redeemed themselves. But at that time, God. It's just, there's always something wrong with these pay-per-views, especially the main events. If it's not Super Showdown, then it's Crown Jewel. If it's not Crown Jewel, then it's Super Showdown. And yeah, and we've got more of this. It's a bad day. Yes, it is for WWE when it comes to Saudi Arabia. Beginning of the end for Roman Reigns at the time. And it's Dolph Ziggler, yeah, this is what everyone was just booing the hell out of it. Like, why waste it on Dolph Ziggler? No one was buying it. It is, oh my goodness. This pay-per-view. Anyway, coming in at number 3. Instead of making it one pay-per-view, why not make it 2? That's right, I'm talking about Crown Jewel. Yes. This one was somehow worse, in my opinion, than Super Showdown. Why? Here's why. Shout out to Simon Miller. Yeah, this again didn't make any sense. Where do we start? Flipping Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez for the WWE Championship. This happened just shortly after the Fox premiere for SmackDown. They went in a weird way. They wanted to make it more MMA with the shoot style and the kicks and all that. And then within 2 minutes, Brock Lesnar taps out. He makes Cain Velasquez tap out to a Kimura. It was obviously a quick cash grab, have like all these stars in for the pay-per-view, but it did nothing for Cain, did nothing for Brock. What was the best part of that was the ending when Rey Mysterio completely snapped, beat him with a chair, and he even cracked him on the skull with it. That was freaking awesome. For some reason they don't really talk about it, even though they have a strict no headshot with a chair rule. But whatever, that was pretty cool seeing that on WWE TV. Then obviously the OC becoming the best tag team in the world, defeating the Viking Raiders, and everyone else that was in it. I couldn't care for it. Whatever. Mansoor defeated Cesaro. Good win for Mansoor. He's doing pretty well in NXT as well. So it was a good match. Cesaro again puts I guess 100% out of every match that he's in. Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman. Wow. That's what I gotta say about that. Moving on, AJ Styles versus Humberto Carrillo. Typical AJ Styles match. Typical Humberto Carrillo match. This I thought was going to be the beginning of the end for Humberto, because anyone that faces AJ Styles for the United States Championship pretty much get buried, just like Cedric. But currently he's doing alright. He's doing alright for now. So we'll see how that goes. And then Natalya versus Lacey Evans in a very, very weird match. Neither of them were in character. It just felt like two generic default characters that come out when you play WWE 2K. There's no personality, and you didn't design them. They're just generic default one creation characters. It was just really awkward, and then people were still disrespecting them. Someone threw a water bottle at Natalya. It wasn't a good start. Sure, they made history, but in a way I'm just wondering, was it really worth it? Maybe they should wait until they iron things out, make it a bit more open. I'm sure maybe later down the line they will, but yeah, it just didn't make sense. It wasn't a really good start. It wasn't a really good start for them to have women matches in there, but it was a very, very awkward match for me anyway. And of course, the match that everyone was asking for, Team Hogan versus Team Flair. Team Hogan consisted of, let me just get my notes, Roman Reigns, Rusev, Ricochet, Shorty G, and Ali. And Team Flair consisted of Randy Orton, King Corbin, Bobby Lashley, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Drew McIntyre in a 10-man tag team match. That's some decent spots in there. I loved it when Randy Orton's in there. Like he did some nice RKOs out of nowhere. I must say. Yeah, it was okay. I figured that Roman Reigns, Team Hogan would win, leading up to Survivor Series, and Roman Reigns was starting to get over a bit more. So, yeah, it was cool. Decent match, and of course, the absolute dumpster fire. The Fiend versus Bray Wyatt. The Fiend versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. It was a Falls Count Anywhere match where the match, this is what they said every time, where the match could not be stopped for any reason. I wonder why they put that in there. Anyway, I couldn't care less for this match. Absolutely couldn't care. And it was all in red. Again, it was just annoying the hell out of me with the Kane entrance. And the finish was just awful. Absolutely cringe. Where, like, you know, you threw him into a box of crates, trying to look for. Then Seth went down, tried to look for him, and then these sparks flew up. None of it went in his face. None of it went in his fucking face. And then he started like going being over dramatic. I can't say. I'm legally blind. Oh my god. It's just absolutely just ridiculous. And then I ain't gonna lie, the shot was cool. Where you see like Bray just come out behind him, just like, just like, here I am, nigga. And then then he just pretty much just choked him out. And then the Fiend became champion. Nice little shot when he's standing by the stage and he's holding it. That was pretty cool. But the match itself was just absolutely cringe. Again with the over like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 curb stomps, and they were running this Fiend thing to the ground. It just wasn't. It was not great. Absolutely was not great. Absolutely awful. This was a very strange and awkward pay-per-view. It was bad, but not only was it bad, it was strange and awkward. The women's match was awkward. Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez was awkward. Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman, awkward. Hell, Tyson Fury sold the running power slam that Braun Strowman does. Pretty much got up, did an Undertaker rise, and just got up. Absolutely ridiculous. And of course, the Fiend against Seth was just a really just bad, awkward, weird, bizarre match. And we're gonna get more of these, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get more of these. I can't fucking wait. The Rock is just there to decide, what the fuck am I? Who was I standing next to? I gotta talk to Vince. The Rock is just absolutely confused. Right. Coming up in number 2. Yeah, this was cutting it. These two were cutting it close. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I think I made the right choice. So yes, like I said, coming up in number 2 is WWE Stomping Grounds. Yes, this pay-per-view got a lot of good write-ups, didn't it? I just don't get it. The name was bad. The name was bad. The logo was freaking awful. It just did nothing for anybody. I don't know if I'm saying that like constantly, but yeah, this pay-per-view did nothing. The 2-3 hours wasted on this pay-per-view. If you've seen this, absolutely awful. Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. Becky Lynch wins via submission. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeats the New Day. Whatever. Quite forgettable, to be honest. Ricochet versus Samoa Joe. Now that, I didn't expect Samoa Joe to lose against Ricochet. That was unexpected. I think Samoa Joe didn't really have the title that long. No, he did, because he had it from Wrestle Mania onwards. So he had it for a decent amount of time. Daniel Bryan and Rowan defeating Heavy Machinery. No title change. It was for the tag team championships. No title change. It was, I don't remember about seeing this match. I probably may have skipped that because I didn't care for it. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss for the women's championship. Bayley defeated Alexa Bliss. Again, didn't expect her to lose it. Bayley just pretty much just won it. It was just whatever. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre for the 500th time. It was, oh my goodness. And it was just embarrassing Drew McIntyre. I didn't understand it. I really didn't understand it. Like, there was talk of him getting this major push, and they just never pulled the trigger. They just kept feeding him to Roman Reigns during that time, and it was just really, it was awkward timing for McIntyre. He's still being fed to people. I mean, he gets a couple of squash matches, but again, meaningless people. No disrespect to them, but it's not doing him any justice. Again, we got Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler in a cage match for the WWE Championship. Again, no one was buying that Dolph Ziggler was going to win the championship, so it was just a by the numbers win. It was just, just someone to feed Kofi Kingston, and this is what kind of made people sour on Kofi Kingston's reign. No one was really a true threat. Maybe Samoa Joe and maybe Randy Orton, but other than those two, no one was a true viable threat to his championship until Brock Lesnar, which obviously defeated him in 6 seconds. That's why it wasn't a strong title reign for Kofi Kingston. I'm glad that he kept it for all this time, but no one was really a true threat until, in my opinion, Randy Orton and Samoa Joe. But even those were like, he pretty much brushed past them. And then when it came to Brock Lesnar, we all know what happened there. And of course, the main event, the glorious main event, Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin for the, it was a no count out, no disqualification match for the Universal Championship. And then, yeah, this whole time Baron Corbin was teasing who the special guest referee was. Just kept teasing it, and then it ended up being Lacey Evans. Yeah, Seth Rollins kept on taking out all his special guest referees, but Baron obviously knew that, Lacey wasn't going to attack Lacey, because of course she's a woman, so. But whatever. Very lackluster, very, very lackluster. Didn't do anything for anyone. Yeah, I hope this is the first and last time we ever hear of Stomping Grounds, because that was just an absolute dumpster fire. Didn't do anything for anybody. Simple as. Here we are. Number 1. The worst pay-per-view in 2019. We put up with a lot as wrestling fans. Obviously, you can't take it seriously. You gotta suspend the logical sense of things sometimes when you're a wrestling fan. You just gotta shut off the logical side of your brain sometimes. But even when you shut that off, there's certain things that happen where no matter what angle you try to look at it, there's no excuse. It's inexcusable. It's non-logical. It's insensical. And yeah, this pay-per-view pretty much sums it. But the thing is, I don't think I've ever seen a pay-per-view where one match completely destroys the whole pay-per-view. I didn't think that was actually capable. I didn't think that was actually possible for that to happen. But this pay-per-view, in my opinion, shows that those kind of things are possible. And yeah, this is pretty much the first pay-per-view in a long time that pretty much made me go,
fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
And rightfully so. It was so bad that I actually did a rant about it. And if you're a fan of this channel, you know exactly what rant I'm talking about. And the pay-per-view that rightfully so should be at number 1. And yes, I'm talking about WWE Hell in a fucking dumpster fire. Oh my word. Listen, I don't really care for the other matches in the pay-per-view. As far as I'm concerned, they are all part of the problem. They were part of the ridiculousness that we got as a main event, which was The Fiend versus Seth Rollins. The whole storyline was just getting jarring. I mean, it was cool on The Fiend's part because he was taking out all these legends. He took out Braun Strowman. The Firefly Funhouse was cool. But all the stuff that Seth was doing, the overacting, I can't remember if this was before or after their first match at Hell in a Cell, but Seth went and invaded the Firefly Funhouse and burned it down. And it was just absolutely cringe. Everything that he was doing, this was definitely one of the biggest downfalls for Seth Rollins this year. And yeah, it was absolutely infuriating the way they booked this match. It did nothing for anybody. Well, no, it did do something. It made people hate Seth more and hate WWE more because they pinned themselves in such a corner that they panicked and said, all right, let's cash in on the popularity of the Fiend now. But shit, how do we not make him not lose and also don't make Seth lose? It would have. Ride said it perfectly. It shouldn't have been in Hell in a Cell. It should have been just do it as a normal regular match and have someone run in, disqualify. Simple as. But they were so adamant that it has to be in Hell in a Cell because the Fiend is such a crazy character. He needs to be put in the cell. But if you do that, anything goes in Hell in a Cell. But the ref has the power to say that it's gone too far because he bashed his head through a ladder and some tools with a sledgehammer. So having a mallet, a big ass mallet, is not going too far. But having a little sledgehammer, Triple H sledgehammer, and bashing it over someone's head, that's going too far. My friend Ride said it best.
A match designed for chaos was stopped for being too chaotic. Say that back to yourself. Say that back to yourself. A match that was designed for chaos, as in, you guys hate each other so badly, we can't put you in a normal match. We're going to put you in a non-sanctioned match. Got stopped.
Fucking ridiculous. I've never seen such a response from the fan base quite like that. I haven't seen it on the network. I'm pretty sure they've edited it. I'm pretty sure they edited the chants. But everyone was saying restart the match. AEW bullshit. It was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know what their mindset was. They panicked. They just said, you know what? Screw it. He's he's only had one match, but we know this guy's gonna be worth millions. Let's just put him in a match, but don't cash in. Don't give him the title just yet. And what did they do? They made both of them look like fools. And the dumb thing about it was, after that headshot, the Fiend was fine. Still got up, beat the crap out of Seth. Freaking deluxe paint was coming out of Seth Rollins' mouth, and then end credits. Are you freaking kidding me? It's absolutely embarrassing. From a big ass tearing ass company that is WWE, and they said a year prior, we are going to give you what you want. We are here for the fans. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? That is why everyone's going to AEW. You know what I'm saying? It is just, yeah. I can't believe I wasted 3-4 hours for that dumpster fire of a match. And in my opinion, that pretty much destroyed whatever. There could have been 3 5-star matches on the pay-per-view. I heard that the Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks match wasn't so bad. I didn't watch it. I just wanted to see what the outcome was for the for the main event, and then we got that. So every match except for that one, except for the Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, I don't really want to see it. I don't think any match could save that pay-per-view, because that's like, no one cares about the rest of the pay-per-view. That pretty much destroyed the pay-per-view. It was regarded negatively. It was just absolutely insane. It's something that you would expect from an indie company, something maybe TNA, because they have some ridiculous stuff there, so you would expect it from there, but not from WWE. They just didn't know where to put. They didn't know what to do. They pinned themselves in the corner and embarrassed themselves. And yeah, it was, in my opinion, they really tarnished The Fiend. They really tarnished Seth. And the thing is, it's not really their fault. It's what they were given. They just have to go out and do it. But yeah, Hell in a Cell is officially my number one worst pay-per-view of 2019. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my top 10 list of worst AEW and WWE pay-per-views of the year. Thank you very much for tuning in and enjoying the list. Let me know your thoughts. Leave it in the comments. I'll read them all. What were your worst pay-per-views of the year? Were there any worst pay-per-views of the year? And if there isn't, you're fucking lying. But yeah, 2020. Let's look forward to WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble. Which, by the way, the next Take It to the Table episode with myself, Rhymes, and Rides will be after the Royal Rumble. And yeah, it's actually going to be officially a full year since I started this channel. So we're going to do a little special episode for y'all. We're going to do a little special, it may be live, who knows. But yeah, we are going to be doing something nice, something different for y'all. And so yeah, stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for making this channel what it is. To all of you that's just joining, welcome to the channel. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, all I can say is thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to broadcast my opinions and Mr. Rhymes and Rise's opinions on the show. It's been very fun making this. Been hard working, with the editing and everything like that. But it's all worth it, especially if you guys tune in and enjoy what you see. So don't worry, there's gonna be plenty more to come. Not just in wrestling, but in different. You're gonna see quite a bit of me next year, trust me. And until next time, guys, peace.